This video is intended to describe a lightblade wand named Meticulous Alteration. If it can even be considered a wand at this point based on its ginormous size of about roughly 37 inches of complicated crystalline structure made into a comprehensive superconductor. So obviously at first glance this will be quite the in-depth tour to notarize all the crystalline structures seen here. So I perhaps would recommend a beverage or a snack of some kind for anybody that does take the journey of enduring this entire video description, because this will be quite lengthy and quite in-depth and quite the ambitious endeavor, to say the least. Anyhow, like I mentioned, at first glance, there's quite a bit to see on this entire structure in one closed-loop reactive circuit based on the lightblade light tech platform. And so, it's a very ambitious, high vibratory project to see here. And I'll start off with the primary blade banding to give context to the entire scaffolding of the momentous energy that will be circulating primarily through a perpetual figure eight with many aspects. So the lightblade scaffolding will be discussed first to give context to the rest of the subtle crystals terminated throughout the entire matrix, grounded to a single primary wire so that all the other frequencies mentioned thus far from this point forward are all terminated together on a single primary wire to generate vibrational compound interest. Let's get into it. Seen right here where the hand bands are, as well as the engine band seen right here to contain this entire section, this was technically the heart or engine of the device, is the tried and true transmutation ratio. Starting off with iron-based hematite in conjunction with smoky quartz as a subcapacitation agent to ignite like so, seen here, to this lateral band right here, and like so, to this first lateral band right here. And the transmutation ratio consists, once again, of hematite and smoky quartz to be its tremendously grounding influence for the entire blade band scaffolding. Hematite strongly grounds all excess energy through the root chakra into the earth stars, into the earth reprocessing, and so does smoky quartz the same capacity. Hence the ratio of transmutation, hence it's been dubbed, is to ensure the grounding of excess energy connecting to Mother Earth for two-way rapid reprocessing. And also, that's one of the aspects of transmutation, to ground all excess energy, to turn negativity into positivity through reprocessing with Mother Earth. But the context here of why it plays such a tremendously critical role is to ensure a grounded contact patch for, once again, such a ridiculously ambitious, high vibratory complex project in one closed-loop reactive circuit. So once again, transmutation is scaffolding. Then the primary blade band, seen up here, would be a conjunction of black onyx and Herkimer diamond through the entire primary blade band, which would basically be, of course, more of the business end of the device. Black onyx is very crucial for the aspect of honoring the archetypal name of meticulous alteration. For black onyx is pretty much in my humble opinion, the premier quintessential frequency of discipline as well as consolidation of energy into form and focus. So black onyx, being the extreme focuser of all this excess energy, is very critical to have very precise controlled energy broadcasts while engaged with such a comprehensive superconductor, essentially. With the Herkimer diamond serving as a subcapacitation agent. But before I go further into Herkimer diamond, the onyx also is one of the quintessential stones for self-mastery, as well as discipline and inner strength, and actually takes all this excess energy and provides a very tremendous focus of the energy into the earth for tangible, practical emanations of broadcasting energy. So it's quite crucial to honor the archetypal name that was requested by the recipient of meticulous alteration to have a particular frequency at the primary blade band that would be very much in honoring of the archetypal essence of just that, meticulous alteration, to bring order, focus, and form into all the endeavors of the wielder. Then moving on from onyx to Herkimer diamond. Herkimer diamond is a tremendously vibrant, beautiful, crystalline quartz from Herkimer, New York. That is perhaps one of the most cleanest and high vibratory quartz crystal families out there, and works as a fantastic subcapacitation agent to the onyx to be a tremendous high frequency, higher chakra stimulant in between each ignition point to have a very intense, clean, high, full white light frequency Christ connection emanation of the divine, with the governance of the black onyx governing the entirety of the excessive threshold energy, as well as Herkimer diamond in termination with other frequencies, makes for a dramatic amplification accelerant of whatever frequency is through it. So with the ignition sequence of the Herkimer diamond and the onyx igniting like so, completing its circuit, makes a very intense ification of the discipline focus of the device's intention. So that'd be the primary figure 8 scaffolding seen like so. I'll get right into the auxiliary lateral bands now. To keep the context as well is all the other stones mentioned thus far, as well as many yet to be mentioned directly, will run through the pathways of this figure 8 scaffolding before it completes its perpetual circuit. So these lateral bands right here play a crucial role in the proper diffusing of the elemental spectrums, starting with the earth band, consisting of red jasper, rutilated quartz, ruby, rutilated quartz, then red garnet, then so on back into jasper, ruby, and rutilated quartz to be the earth frequency bandwidth. The aspect of red jasper to stabilize the root, ruby to stimulate the root, as well as red garnet to be an alternate stimulant of the red ray as well, contains the earth frequency. So the aspect of the lateral bands of the elemental spectrums, before I get further in detail to the further bands, is that this section right here is set on silver to be the intake perception of the particular elemental frequency that diffuses laterally like so, while over here is on brass to be the output yang. So you could think of the perfect balance of the earth, fire, water, and wind with love, earth, fire, water, wind, and love in perfect balance in both the brass and the silver to be the output and intake perfect balance for receptivity and projection simultaneously as part of the simple subroutine of this entire Excalibur class reproduction. I do refer to those kind of ambitious projects as Excalibur class blades due to the intensive, complex, high vibratory threshold they emanate. So I would certainly say this is a true Excalibur class lightblade wand based on the excessive overture of energy it's developed to produce with such a complex rendition of a crystal ignition order, to say the least. Pardon my digressions, they will be quite frequent in this video because they're, of course, looking at this to keep everything rational, linear, and progression of looking at such an ambitious project to notarize is quite the endeavor unto itself. Anyhow, moving on to fire. The fire band consists of carnelian, an orange ray classic stone of ancient Egypt, rutilated quartz once again into sunstone, and then rutilated quartz into tiger's eye, mimicked exactly in frequency ratio right here as well, to be a tremendous fire energy of the lower 3 chakras in stimulation. Then moving on to water. Right here, we're starting off with green emerald, the quintessential green ray waterstone mineral kingdom of the heart chakra, rutilated quartz into its cousin aquamarine, the 4th and 5th chakra stimulant of the impeccable water high frequency energy of the beryl family, emerald's cousin, rutilated quartz, then into right here being blue lace agate to be a stabilizer of the 5th chakra, and then so on, completing the circuit like so. Then going right on to this guy, of course also, like I mentioned, this water frequency lateral band is identical to this one right here on a different wire for different conducting of the projection, with the reception of these two frequencies in balance running laterally like so as it completes its circuit. Then right here is the wind band, consisting of the classic famous lapis lazuli, rutilated quartz, amethyst, rutilated quartz, and lapis once again, to have a very simple rendition of classic wind elemental well-known frequencies as the wind elemental band right here. Then least but not last, perhaps obviously most important, are the love bands, consisting of rose quartz, golden healer quartz, which serves as a tremendous gold-white light source, Christ frequency emanation alignment as the subcapacitation agent of that love of creation, going into the lovely pink ray lithium-based kunzite, then golden healer quartz, then rose quartz once again to be the quintessential pink ray love divine source connection frequency reception, seen here and here in their respected silver and brass polarities. Then down here at the very end of this engine, which eventually will have a containment of leather installed right like so, to, of course, serve many purposes of insulating the energy to condense it, to also protect the subtle stone stacked here, as well as being a color therapy resonance insulated shield to have the emanation of the color frequency where leather is chosen to, of course, have many purposes, as well as for being an aesthetic final touch. This lateral band right here, just like the black onyx seen in the primary blade band, this is another antithesis of exactly that frequency, except clear quartz is employed to be a neutral accelerant of the frequency running laterally, like so, seen on both sides, to be a neutral programmable energy into black onyx, once again to, of course, have the consolidation and the condensing of all this excess energy be at the very end of the engine to further be another contingency, to, of course, to focus this energy so it's not just a raw monster, basically, but to actually have focus and form and overwhelming discipline in the endeavor of wielding such an ambitious project. So that'd be the lateral bands right here. And since I'm speaking of lateral bands, I'll go ahead and continue the banding sections in all in one shot. And I'll start off with the trigger and thumb engagement. At the request of the recipient, he asked to be installed a place for the index finger like so, as well as the thumb engagement simultaneously to have a dual engagement point for, once again, I'll say it 5 more times at least for this video, such an ambitious high vibratory project. So this right here is designed to engage the finger right here and thumb simultaneously for the entire continuity engagement, which has their own set of lateral bands around them to get the most out of these important contact patches. Once this video is of course done, this leather will be installed right here after this all notarized down here to have an insulation and of course more of a completion and color therapy, just like mentioned for the engine bay. So starting off with this guy right here is the lovely, legendary, famous Libyan gold tektite. Libyan gold tektite is a tremendously powerful stone that was utilized in ancient Egypt for the breastplates of the pharaohs of old and makes for a very powerful dharmic accelerant and a tremendous stimulant of the solar plexus and sacrum, as well as the entire chakra column as a whole. So it's a dramatic intensification for intention through a very celestial, mythical filter, if you would, of stimulation. In conjunction with that is a very special kind of tektite that actually looks like it's transparent, as well as nickel iron meteorite down right here, to be, of course, another cosmic space boon to this entire closed loop circuit. And to get the most out of this really intensive radial energy is a containment band of both red ruby to be the quintessential root chakra stimulant, with clear quartz to be a neutral subcapacitator, into red jasper to, of course, stabilize the stimulation of the ruby in conjunction around its perimeter circuit just for the trigger point, which work fantastic in tandem to have the extreme stimulation and the extreme stabilization working in tandem to get the most out of that red ray broadcast, which will be very intrinsically useful for wielding intensive high-frequency broadcasts. To, of course, when you keep it grounded, it makes it real. And that goes back to the transmutation ratio, why it's so critical, and, of course, by design, such an important contingency to, of course, take all this excess energy and, most importantly, ground to earth to bring it into tangibility. So flipping over on this guy right here would be a very complex thumb engagement section. I just laugh because when I have to, of course, notarize the complexity of such a ambitious network onto itself that's part of a greater whole of a device. It's just kind of really funny to talk about with a straight face and be linear and rational about the ambitious placements I see before me. Pardon my digressions. Please forgive me. Obviously, this is quite a bit to discuss in one shot. Okay, so the primary thumb engagement seen right here, not to mention the auxiliary with the ginormous Moldavite. I'll go ahead and get into blade banding this guy. So for this thumb engagement, there's the employment of lapis lazuli, the quintessential higher truth window mantle stone, ancient Egyptian utilization, into clear quartz, into the lovely hemimorphite, a lovely fantastic 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, full heart-mind coherent stimulant and tremendously higher boon to the higher chakras of one's highest truth. Hence the employment of this conjunction of lapis and hemimorphite and turquoise are always almost in thumb engagements to be a tremendous higher truth imbuement to serve to discharge electromagnetic interference or ego-mind identity parameters that would prevent one sovereign divine nature from being in the conscious forefront of the wielder, which is always the goal of any given light tech device, to be of service to them, to be of service to creation. So that containment band seen right here is a very powerful higher mind 6th and 5th chakra stimulant to be in one's highest dharmic truth. Then the section around this really exquisite, ginormous piece of moldavite to give perspective right here is the abundance ratio, consisting of peridot, which is a fantastic 3rd and 4th chakra growth abundance frequency stimulant, golden healer quartz, then once again the gold white light high source emanation creation alignment as the subcapacitation agent, into emerald. Emerald being the quintessential frequency stone of abundance as a true precious stone in human history, is very much the perpetual abundance frequency alignment seen right here, redirecting, contained, grounded into this engagement, which of course all these frequencies, everything mentioned, just as another disclaimer, are all grounded into a primary wire seen right here, which is a combination of many metals spooled together, which I'll get into a little later to not stay off track. So obviously I'll discuss the ginormous moldavite. Moldavite should not need much introduction in these kind of crystalline videos as being a very famous stone of notoriety in this day and age, and so obviously having such a potent amazing specimen as a foundational piece for such the ambitious thumb engagement by itself is a very awesome, incredible threshold power. Then right here in the center of this moldavite is a very special stone called naturalite. Naturalite is very hard to find in the crystalline format, and it's a very, very intensive third eye activator that is very much on par with the likes of phenakite, of extreme intensive third eye activation stimulation, virtually unrivaled in the mineral kingdom besides phenakite and a few others of that caliber. But this is a much lesser known variant of a very, very, very obscure high vibratory crystal that actually personally I have never seen a specimen quite as nice as that in my entire life of my obsessive R&D of rock hounding, as can be seen by just witnessing this I'm being kind when I say this, ambitiously wild construction. So that, of course, is a very special feature. And also, I guess, to slide this in right here for this dissertation, is that the recipient of this device actually is proprietor of a crystal shop, so his access of rare, obscure, intensively high vibratory crystals is from a lifelong of collection, and have been offered up to be made into one conducting reactive device. So many of these frequencies are extremely special and very obscure for the true rockhound, and generate quite a bit of enthusiasm when really nerded out upon because of its exquisite quality and nature, especially in one ginormous over-the-top monster piece. So I'll be having a lot of those kind of breaking character nerd out moments in this video, so I hope everybody can just endure that. I'm sorry, I love you, and please forgive me, everyone watching this, if anybody watches this at all. Okay, so, and to further intensify this particular naturalite crystal is a containment band consisting of clear quartz and white diamond beads. White diamond, of course, is the king of the gemstones, known for its sovereign, royal, true, precious nature throughout history and humanity. Everybody knows the white diamond very well for being very famous, and it's a very vibrant 10 out of 10 hardness, carbon-based, full light body stimulant of great sovereign power. Hence, its employment in light tech is very, very powerful and very effective for the full entire light body emanation corresponding activation. So it completes the circle with the tanzanite. So tanzanite is an incredible, perhaps the most powerful heart-mind coherence engaged in the Mineral Kingdom to bring true heart-mind coherence of the 4th and 6th, 5th, 8th chakras of the higher mind, which is very intrinsic for higher spiritual perception and pursuits of all kind. And I dare say it may be one of the most pivotal aspects of the spiritual journey is to have the impeccable heart-mind coherence. And luckily, this tanzanite crystal is perhaps one of the best crystalline allies to mimic that frequency of impeccable heart-mind coherence. That'd be just this part of the thumb engagement, which of course is designed to engage like so, is one circuit. Okay, so getting into the other section of this thumb engagement is a very special sentimental story, which I'll keep very brief, but the foundation of this whole piece right here is actually an arrowhead that was indeed forged by First Nation hands, found in the desert when the recipient was just a child with his father on a rock hounding trip of great special notoriety. So this authentically comes from the obscure desert in the southwest, was actually forged by the hands of First Nation hunters back in the day. So that's tremendously, ridiculously special, obviously. And its foundation was a quartzite of some kind, as far as I can tell, or even an agate or a chalcedony, but it definitely looks like it's a natural kind of clear quartz appearance, which is very special. Then this right here is a quartzite from a very special location for the recipient, which I will not divulge. And this right here was a combination of some gold in here that was found right here inside a structure, which is very beautiful. Then buried underneath here, can't quite see it in this video, at the very apex emanation of this conjunction point underneath here is actually a lovely piece of pyramidal phenakite. Phenakite is perhaps one of the most legendary third eye activators in the Mineral Kingdom of extreme potency, hence its well concealment with a lot of wires as well as part of the termination sequence to the secondary part of the thumb engagement was very much by design to apex the energy of the phenakite into the naturalite subroutine right here to once again generate intensive vibrational compound interest. Then right here is diamond, seen here, here, and here, all of larger beautiful size right there, to be once again a tremendous 10 out of 10 hardness expansion of the entire field. Then right here next to the section is actually cinnabar. Cinnabar is a tremendous stone of theurgy and very much the sorcery archetypal energy and the alchemical accelerant of one's true self coming into view and working from the parameters of being in touch with one's latent psychic capacities in extreme fashion. So obviously having these guys here is very prevalent for meticulous alteration to be once again honoring the ambitious archetypal name as well as the crystalline ignition order that is quite vast. So about 23 minutes I've discussed just the blade bands and the thumb and trigger engagement. Okay, that's not too bad. So I'll go ahead and get straight into the blade facing scene right here. So obviously the blade face is rather ambitious, but it is as close as absolutely possible to maintain ideal continuity. One of the subtle differences of both sides of the blade face would start off with the vericite opposed to the lovely Sleeping Beauty turquoise seen right here. Oh geez, right here. It's so big to wield, it's very unruly to get it in the proper camera angles too. Good grief. Obviously, I do not construct devices this big very often, so this is quite the learning curve to stay on top of. At least I'm having fun and being rather silly in this ambitious video. Okay, at the very tip of this right here, at the very, very tip and apex of this blade core right here is a lovely piece, can't get to behave itself, of Larimar. Larimar is a quintessential 5th chakra stimulant and extreme soother of oceanic energy in a lot of ways. Once again, Libyan gold tektite seen right here, just like the trigger point over here. Seen here, on both sides exactly, to be another extreme boost of that energy of manifestation capacity. Then down here as well, there's a piece at the very end of the engine to be a very well contained circuitry of the Libyan gold utilization in many points. Okie dokie. Like I mentioned, turquoise, a classic frequency, of course, a crystal that is the quite famous and a fan favorite of millions for thousands of years for good reason, being a fish chakra stone of wholeness. Then these lovely copper snakes are on both sides. Now this section is quite critical for the functionality of this device on long-term scale, is the aspects of the jasper and the agates in one sequence, which I'll discuss in one shot. Red jasper is a very powerful stabilizer of the root chakra, which considers to be an earth elemental frequency. Fire agate is a great stabilizer of the root, sacrum, and solar plexus. Moss green agate is a great water elemental stabilizer of the fourth chakra. Blue lace agate is a great stabilizer of the fifth chakra, water elemental as well. And holly blue agate, a very special rare, actually purple, but its trade name is holly blue agate. Powerful wind stabilizer of 6th and 7th chakras. So the importance of having the full continuity of stabilizing the earth, fire, water, and wind brings the entire stabilization elemental pitch. Particularly more important, the more complex and more intense the vibratory device is, the more important the stabilization contingencies and the grounding come into play to make it a very beneficial, functional frequency augmentation, opposed to being a existential crisis on a stick, basically, to mitigate the timeline whiplash as much as possible. Yes, that's just kind of me, of course, being silly about the project. Then both sides right here is Nirvana quartz, a lovely heart-mind coherence frequency from Tibet as well. Libyan gold tektite, like mentioned, a lovely variant of gypsum selenite. Then right here is a lovely little piece of jet, seen on both sides. Lovely black ray purification agent. And the rare and rather obscure covalite. Covalite is a very beautiful, lesser-known frequency that's a very powerful storm elemental higher chakra stimulant of dramatic scope and scale that has stimulations associated with the lapis as well as the labradorite spectrum of being a very powerful higher mind stimulant. Seen on both sides in a very beautiful metallic blue appearance. So it's a very quite nice frequency to, once again, have on such a ambitious project. And then right here, getting choked up from all this, is the lovely charoite. See on both sides, charoite's a fantastic purple ray wind elemental frequency of great purification. Then right here is a very powerful astrophyllite, seen on both sides. Astrophyllite actually has a zircon matrix, which is a very powerful full light body stimulant from top to bottom, very intense stuff. Another amplification agent. Then right here, a very special frequency seen on both sides actually is star sapphire. Star sapphire is an amazing variety of the corundum blue sapphire, which is the quintessential stone of royal wisdom, being a tremendous stimulant of the 5th and 6th chakras wind elemental frequencies, as well as being known as a stone of royal wisdom and a crystal of archetypal order, very aligned with energy of Saturn, which is very appropriate for the discipline required to, of course, engage and wield such the ambitious project. It very much is like an F1 rocket ship variation of lightblade wands, so obviously every little small detail helps to keep the discipline in focus of wielding such a device of inherent theurgy. Okay, this right here is more turquoise. Oh, I'm getting choked up from all this. Oh my goodness. Then right here is the lovely, amazing seraphinite. Ooh, a lot to talk about. Okay. Seraphinite is an incredible seraphic green ray heart chakra stimulant that imbues full healing from top to bottom and is perhaps one of the most powerful master healers of this age to dismantle patterns of dis-ease in gall capacities. Then right here is a lovely variety of nephrite jade serpentine here from Mount Shasta that the the recipient actually found that looks just like seraphinite, which I have my suspicions about, particularly with this larger piece that he faceted himself for the project right there. That looks just like seraphinite to me. So it also feels very energetically similar to traditional seraphinite seen right here. So that indeed actually is a serpentine variety from Mount Shasta that is from a very local, obscure cache of this particular composition, which is very special. Then right here is some more smoky celestial quartz, which I'll get into more later as a tremendous important frequency buffer. But these are also almost a kind of a phantom variety, which is very special, very obscure. And these guys right here are actually healer's gold. Healer's gold is a fantastic pyrite magnetite combination that makes a very strong grounding of energy. The more grounding of this energy is possible, the more effective it actually will be for tangibility's sake, so very critical. Then underneath this section where the selenites meet up right here, which I will eventually circle back to, is the lovely prophecy stone seen here as well as here, being another amazing stone actually found in the Libyan desert from where the location this is found. And the name Prophecy Stone came from a rock hound who is out there who actually had a tremendous prophetic vision holding this metal. So, the fun fact about Prophecy Stone too, it apparently has aspects of the periodic table that are not quantified in our personal terrestrial periodic table, which means it actually has elements of space metal, which is quite special and a very powerful chakra stimulant in its own right for that purpose. And you can't quite see anymore, but these two cylinders seen right here are actually lovely old school bright purple sugilite, which is another fantastic crown chakra stimulant and energy purifier. Then right here above the lateral band sequence is rutilated quartz. So obviously when I discuss these sides, the other side looks exactly like this as much as possible, to be very symmetrical. Rutilated quartz makes for a lovely neutral amplification of the clear quartz with bands of rutile to accelerate the entire frequency. So this entire section is being highly accelerated by the rutile as a whole. Then right here is black tektite, lovely space rock that makes a strong full community activation. Then over here, I should flip it over, is one more piece of cinnabar. Oh. Cinnabar seen right here to be once again a very powerful chakra stimulant as well as an alchemical agent. So that'd be the blade face described, besides the aspect of varisite, which is a cousin to turquoise, a fantastic water elemental heart stimulant with the 5th chakra classic turquoise right here. Otherwise, they are virtually as identical as possible, with everything being prepared in pairs to make as much continuity, even symmetry, as possible with so many components in one termination sequence. Oh my goodness. Okay. So moving on. Actually, I'll go ahead and discuss the criticality of the selenite and kyanite section. So the aspect of everything mentioned thus far obviously is quite a bit of energy. So the critical nature of the selenite seen on the blade face right here of the primary core of this entire device, which is actually, I believe, a juniper from a special area in Utah that is very, very near and dear to the recipient's heart, which I will omit for this video. But that is the core is from a very special wood from Utah area. And the selenite seen right here plays a critical role of taking all these frequencies and purifying everything mentioned in this termination sequence thus far and yet to be further mentioned out ahead. It will purify this entire closed loop reactive circuit. It will also harmonize all these frequencies as well as amplify all these frequencies. So we can take the trifecta of the purification of all this mentioned thus far, the amplification, and the harmonization. That makes for a true trifecta of triumph when it comes to endeavors of vibrational engineering. So that's the important role selenite plays here. And by itself, selenite is an amazing full light body activator as well as a dismantler of stagnant energies from top to bottom, as well as a tremendous crown chakra, third eye, 8th, and then all non-physical chakras back to the Godhead, full two-way higher self contact patch communication. So the important role of selenite cannot be overstated in any given light tech that passes through my hands into distribution. And so obviously, the lovely big portion of the selenite was of the essence to get the most out of this ambitious project. Then the aspects of the kyanite seen in black kyanite to bridge all excess energy very rapidly through the earth. Orange kyanite to bridge the sacrum to the highest factory dharmic blueprint setting, so to speak. Then green kyanite to bridge the heart capacity to the highest, once again, factory dharmic blueprint setting, as well as blue kyanite to bridge the neural pathways right and left hemispheres to the highest divine alignment connection. So we can take the aspect of the rapid bridging of black, orange, green, and blue kyanite together in one circuit. It makes for a very dynamic auto-reactive range, frequency, pitch of one's impeccable dharmic self manifest into tangible 3D conscious self-perception. As well as it plays a critical role for the transference of the energy to have the ripples actually broadcast and ground throughout reality. Then, right here is the impressive focalizer crystal band right here. So, like I mentioned, this entire contained circuit, primary blade banding scaffolding, runs a perpetual figure-8 motion to have a perpetual way to recirculate the energy. Then the aspect of the focalizers right here, grounded to the primary wire, focuses the energy into form to have the broadcast have intensive focus of the radial energy in a very concise manner. Starting off with Tibetan black quartz, a fantastic stone from Tibet, a tremendous psychic purifier, as well as a smoky citrine acquired from Tucson by the recipient, as well as the legendary, lovely, famous Schiff quartz, which is very obscure, very hard to find, a very powerful legendary quartz family of powerful changing of reality, hence called Schiff quartz. Then a part of a boji stone. Its mate is over here, at the very end. Then these are laser point quartz seen right here to be the focus, to laser focus the energy of the broadcast. Alrighty, so moving towards the engine section, I'm going to flip this guy over like so to get it down range. So this right here is a lovely Lemurian quartz, and so this actually has a completely unbroken continuity of its own crystalline structure, lining up all the way to the engine, which is a very special feature that's not promoted in many lightblade wands, due to just the, obviously the over-the-top ambitious nature of this device was to be an exhibition of true high-yield metaphysical excellence, so no expense and no detail was left out to ensure that this was a flagship of intensive metaphysical compendium, I guess you could say. Okay, enough of my digressions. Gotta stay on target. Lemurian clear quartz, a lovely variety of amethyst Veracruz amethyst right here. Fantastic fulgurite from the southwest, Sedona fulgurite, which makes a power of lightning through the entire structure. Very powerful stuff. Then into a lovely clear quartz once again. Then into star argonite. Star argonite seen here, and most importantly here, is a tremendous calcium-based full light body activator. That's another one of those master healers of this timeline to basically dismantle any patterns that impede light body from top to bottom in a very smooth, quick, expedited fashion to clear any densities that be impeding the natural healthy flow of a light body. Then right here, at the midpoint of this handle, seen right here, is another piece of selenite to be, once again, just like the focus of this right here, to purify, accelerate, harmonize the entire range, going right here to also work to, of course, before it completes the circuit, purify, harmonize, and amplify downrange, and vice versa. Then to lovely another amazing specimen of quartz, right here. Then fulgurite once again. Then into a lovely, incredible smoky quartz that's been buried by the lateral bands at this point. Then going into the engine section. So above this lateral band section is a very special piece of sugilite, seen right here. Then on the other side, right here, is a lovely piece of prehnite. Prehnite is an amazing master healer as well, a quintessential stone of Raphael the Archangel frequency alignment. Okay, now we're getting to the engine section. All right, I'll just turn it straight like this. Alrighty. So at the very tip right here is a lovely black variant of Herkimer diamond, an incredible specimen right there. More of the southwest fulgurite, which is literally the power of lightning mimicking that frequency of intensification, a dramatic intensifier for any closed reactive circuit. This right here is actually a very special story. This was a stone seen right here from the Great Pyramids of Egypt in front of it. And actually for my friend, it was smuggled out in some woman's shoe. She put it in her sock so she can sneak it out of Egypt, and he got it. And now he wanted, of course, that Egyptian superconductor mastery monument to have a piece of this device. And so he also, of course, wanted that exposed due to the extremely exotic, miraculous, ridiculous nature of its existence as a polished stone from Egypt, right in front of the Great Pyramids. And so now that's represented and will not be concealed by leather, so it can be always seen, enjoyed, and viewed as part of a comprehensive whole, as one of the many organs of this whole living, sentient, light structure creature, basically. So anyhow, this right here is more Tibetan black quartz, seen all the way up here at the very edge over here for the focalizer cluster. This guy here is some more amazing clear quartz. Then, over hither is a very special main heart of the device, actually is lightning struck quartz. This quartz right here was struck by lightning, which you obviously cannot see it anymore because it's very well concealed with other components, but actually has a mimicking of almost like a lightning strike went through the quartz, which is very special. Then right here is another piece of golden healer quartz to be in direct termination with the main heart of the device to once again be a tremendous gold white light cry-source frequency emanation alignment. Then here's the Boji stone, like I mentioned before, and right here is a lovely celestial smoky quartz, which plays a very important role, particularly the more the ambitious the frequency generation pitch range is, the more important these guys play a role together in 2 points right here. The smoky celestial quartz serves as a tremendous auto-regulation of a high-frequency energy based on the alignment of one's higher self template engaging the structure, which serves as a governor to regulate the frequency pitch as a whole, to of course make it as comfortable as possible to be in instantaneous, consistent, grounded resonance at all times. Quite the quintessential important frequency in any given light tech wand, particularly of any kind, is always the smoky celestial quartz, being a critical foundational component for the adaptability of the frequency pitch alignment when engaged. Then right here is the lovely good specimen of golden healer quartz, seen like right here, but a very nice older locality a private stock version. Then right here is purple lapidorite. Purple lapidorite is a very fantastic feldspar-based magical stone of great third eye stimulation. Then right here, this big white stone actually is a very special variety of selenite, seen up here, that's found from one obscure area about 100 feet in diameter in the obscure section of Utah that has quite the legend behind it, named intrapolite by the discoverer of this exact frequency. A very, very, very long story short, a man who's a great colleague to the recipient of this device actually went out to a section of remote Utah based on spiritual guidance and found this cache of this particular white version of selenite, which is a gypsum family, and had quite the intense energy reaction to it, which caused him to perform an investigation to call upon many different clairvoyants around the area of Mount Shasta to get a comprehensive dossier formed around this one frequency right here, which apparently, according to several pages of documented psychic sleuthing, says that an Arcturian craft landed on this spot and imprinted the energy through the entire crystalline matrix of the area. Hence, it holds in a ridiculously high vibratory nature. Besides being a normal selenite, it has kind of an association, from my perception at least, being almost feeling like a combination of naturalite, scolecite, phenakite, and selenite combined, which is quite exotic. And I'm pretty sure that this man is the only person that has this stuff in the earth, which makes this a very special, obscure power piece to be added to this, once again, ambitious, super high vibratory project. Anyhow, so this right here is a combination of azurite and malachite together. Azurite's a very lovely blue ray psychic stimulant, while malachite's a very lovely third and fourth chakra fire elemental yang stimulant. Yet, except of course, azurite and malachite are exactly the same mineral, just in a different order of how the mineral composition manifested. Hence, they oxidize in different colors, but they of course are found together quite frequently. This right here is a lovely Sedona marble right here. This right here is lovely Dambarite. Dambarite's an incredible higher frequency crown chakra stimulant as well, much like the same family. As well as this is Dambarite seen right here too. Then right here is Epidote. Epidote's a fantastic purifier of the entire energy body, as well as another manifestation agent to purify anything that would be impeding the natural abundant flow of any broadcast of wishes to make a very powerful purification. This right here is Sedona Red Rock, which is a very lovely grounding influence. This right here is Oceanic Calcite, which is actually tumbled by the ocean in the white calcite spectrum, so it has a strong oceanic clearing imprintation. This right here is a combination of a lovely, beautiful fluorite piece right here that has kind of black and purple connotations, but it's a stone of order, force of order in the mineral kingdom. Then this right here was a lovely blue topaz, which is a very fantastic fifth chakra fire elemental stimulant, a very beautiful frequency mineral kingdom. This is Seraphinite once again, the master healer seraphic nature. This right here is a lovely piece of just plain old serpentine from here in Mount Shasta. This right here is amber, another transmutator of negativity into positivity through a solar clarification means. Then down here, to of course bring more purification, harmonization, and amplification to this entire section, is a bolt of selenite in conjunction with black kyanite to strictly work on the aspect of bridging this energy into the earth stars, the chakras between the feet, for rapid continuity transference into the earth to once again make it real. Then flipping it over. So I mentioned the smoky celestial quartz. This right here is a lovely piece of girasol quartz, a rather obscure, rare, amazing white ray quartz. Another lovely little sub-engine of Lemurian quartz seen right here. This right here actually was a it was a typical piece of gravel painted by the recipient's son that looked like a mineral that had to be incorporated in this design because it's just beautiful. It's also a very sentimental, beautiful story. This right here is a lovely big piece of jet that was actually previously owned by the father's recipient. One second, there's a wire bothering me. I have to get that after this video. This jet right here was actually previously owned by the recipient's father, was part of his personal rock collection. And a very fun fact about this bottle right here, this is a bottle of zincite in the yellow polarity. Zincite is the most explosive lower three chakra activator in the mineral kingdom just about. And I oftentimes reserve it for very well-balanced projects, or either that or ambitious projects based on its inherent volatile fire energy nature. But the fun fact about this bottle is when I was looking for it many moons ago, roughly a year ago or so, the recipient actually gifted me this bottle of zincite, which I put in a construct, which of course I relieved from the other pre-existing construct to have it incorporated and brought back to his reality to be of service to him in such an ambitious project. Alrighty. Guys, surprisingly, that's almost the engine section. Wow. So buried underneath all this as well, okay, I'm trying to get the right angle to see this, is a lovely giant bolt. Down seen through here is actually a bolt of smoky rutilated quartz, which is of great large size, but is well concealed by other allies at this point. That works as a tremendous grounding of energy, as well as amplification, with the rutile being a titanium dioxide to be a super accelerant, which is quite tremendous as the foundational base. Then right here, a rather critical antithesis is star ruby to the star sapphire of the same family, same hardness, oftentimes at least a 9 out of 10 the hardness scale for ruby, being the unsurpassed red ray vibrant stone of precious royalty. So having a large piece of the star sapphire and the star ruby in conjunction was just another precaution to have even balance and symmetry as much as possible, as can be had with such the ambitious project. Wow, I'm making surprisingly good time. And so this right here actually is a very special piece, which I will omit the full story, but it's very sentimental to the recipient, being a special piece of wood worked by someone very dear to him that has been incorporated in this device and has, of course, been screwed in with brass screws to have several points to keep it very firm as a secondary core to literally hold the main heart into place. Then down right here was a lovely piece of rainbow hematite, a lovely spectrum of hematite that's quite vast in its energetic scope and scale. Let's see. Did I get everybody? Wow. Yes, that actually will be the engine section, surprisingly in record time. I really anticipated this being at least an hour and a half video or so, even at a quick pace, and also not full descriptions on everything mentioned here, because I really anticipated this to be kind of overwhelming, naturally, to put it all chronologically straight, but it seems like the notarization has been virtually taken care of. Okay. So in summary, like I've mentioned at least 10 times, please forgive me anyone watching this, I repeated, this very ambitiously high vibratory project has many different frequencies in scope and scale in tandem working together in one closed-loop harmonized circuit, all grounded to a central primer wire. And a very special aspect of this particular blade is very exotic metals are utilized for the section of the blade banding of the primary blade face, consisting of gold carat wire, platinum wire, silver wire, titanium high-grade wire, as well as copper, having 5 different metals of great precious notoriety spooled together into one primary wire to have a great diffusion of the metal frequencies, which runs all the way and meets to right here, which translates back into the typical brass, copper, and silver with the high-grade titanium provided as the 4th metal to run the continuity for the rest of the entire construct, which is quite dramatic in scope and scale. So having the precious connotation of the extremely high precious yield metals for the primary blade band, where the business end is, obviously, well, there's a lot going on up here, as can be seen at a glance, plays a critical role to bring a very intensive high theurgy metal conduction for this entire energy broadcast. Let's see here. So, that would be basically, like I mentioned 3 times, part of my digressions and repeating, while I make sure I didn't forget anything in this overwhelming project that'd be important to notarize for down the line. But that actually would be just about everything notarized in one shot in under an hour, to my extreme surprise. Okay, I guess more time for the summaries aspects of the intentional construct of meticulous alteration. So, this construct is going to a very dear colleague of mine, who is a very good man, who I respect very deeply, and actually will be a tremendous honor to get this in his custody, to be of service to him forevermore, and be a tremendous powerful agent of what is indeed possible, of great frequency of meticulous alteration to bring great things into manifestation for reality in service to creation in the most altruistic capacity. So not to mention, there's many aspects of great sentiment to this construct I've omitted to be respectful of privacy, and there's a lot of great sentimental aspects that are really very touching. And so this is basically a very powerful homage to a very comprehensive device. I usually am pretty good at gathering my words, I guess. But when I look at this from my perspective of the scope and scale of how ambitious this project has been, it's been hard, of course, to put it in summary, because it's quite simply even overwhelming for me, the being who had the privilege of actually crafting this superconductor into one comprehensive device, to, I guess, talk about it and notarize its innate excellence and inherent power. That is a great exhibition of magical power that has many a magical stone from a collection of a lifelong collection of a crystal proprietor that has great deal of magical power behind all of it. I better get ready to call it before I keep rambling, obviously. But in summary, The most important aspect also of this entire exotic dynamic range is once again, the consolidation of the energy into focus and form to bring a very consolidated pitch of energy from this overwhelming energy generator before me to be of tangible, practical service, and not just a cool out-of-the-body neat spiritual experience, but actually be of true service in the aspects of meticulous alteration to manifest the highest and best in connection as being a co-creator of the universe. So obviously, its ambitious design is designed to stabilize, stimulate, and clear the entire chakra column from top to bottom. Is a very dynamic light body activator as a superconductor in one frequency, and obviously a very large device which will be required 2 hands. Luckily, the recipient's a very big, strong man, so that's good. And I better stop rambling before I make a fool of myself. Well, anyhow, to anybody watching this, if anybody even making it this far in this video, I wish you a very good day, 1,000 blessings, and the force is with you always. Okay. Aho, meticulous alteration.